Father, we've run out of oil. Can we go hunt some whales?
No, son! Whaling is bad! Just look at what happened to those poor sailors in the heart of the sea!
Don't you mean in the heart of the sea?
No!
Hi everybody and welcome to episode 19 of The Critical Reel, the podcast that takes a movie from the week, breaks it open, and reviews it. My name is Zachary Cruz-Tan, and with me this week
is his brother Jay. Ahoy, people out there.
Yeah, because this week, the movie that we're reviewing, we're going to travel out to the far seas this week. We are going to sail the seven seas because we're reviewing Ron Howard's In the Heart of the Sea.
Yes.
And before we do, quick reminder that you can find us on Facebook, or you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/thecriticalreel. And you can also find me on Twitter at thecriticalreel. And also, please visit hookedonfilm.com.au, which is a local film magazine that I write for. And we do great stuff there, so go visit Hooked on Film, go like their Facebook page, go read all our reviews.
Do check it out, yes.
And if you're listening to us on iTunes, please remember to subscribe to our channel, rate and review it, and download our episodes. It's very important.
Very.
Where can they find you, Jay?
Excuse me. You can find me on Twitter at DialogueSC. That's it. You know, just tweet random shit. So, yeah, follow me there. That's it.
All right, so as we said this week, it's all about whales.
Yes.
It's all about sailing. It's all about whale oil.
Yes, that's very important.
And handsome men sailing the seas within the heart of the sea.
Yes.
I'm not going to say much about it now because we'll get into it. But if this is your first Critical Reel episode, if this is the first time you're listening to us, our episodes have 4 different segments. And it's how we kind of break open the movie. The first segment is the cast and crew and the synopsis, which speaks for itself. It's all about the cast, the important people in the movie, and a brief synopsis that we pull from IMDb.com. Just very straightforward. We move on to the background and the production of the movie, where that speaks for itself. We tell you all about the background and the production of the movie. Principal photography, any kind of juicy facts that went into the production and the making of the movie, anything.
Fun facts, great. No, we
had
a lot of fun facts.
Yeah, you had a lot of fun facts
last week's
for
episode,
The Social Network, yes. A movie that was very dear to your heart, or still is.
Yes.
Our third segment is the review, and that is, again, speaks for itself. It's where we review the movie at hand, discuss it, talk about it. Did we like it? Did we not like it? Why? What do we think could have been done better? And the very last segment of our reviews of our episodes is the recommended viewings.
Yes.
And that is where we, here at the Critical Reel, choose movies that we think will supplement and help your viewing of the week's movie. Yeah. In any way possible. Might not be a good movie, might be a bad movie, doesn't matter. Any movie that we think is going to help you with this viewing, we will recommend it. You don't have to see it, but yes, you do. Okay.
So it's a recommended required viewing.
It's a recommended required compulsory mandatory viewing.
Yes. Okay, I got it.
Okay, so without further ado, let's dive right into the cast and crew and the synopsis of In the Heart of the Sea. So, as I said at the start of the episode, it's directed by Ron Howard. I called it Ron Howard's In the Heart of the Sea because it's directed by Ron Howard. And he has done quite I was looking up his filmography, and he's done quite a number of movies that have kind of slipped under the radar. But he's directed Splash with Tom Hanks, Cocoon, Parenthood, Apollo 13, Ransom, The Grinch, A Beautiful Mind.
He did The Grinch.
Cinderella Man, The Da Vinci Code, Frost Nixon, Rush. Rush was his most recent one last year, 2 years ago.
Love Rush.
And those are just a few titles that I picked. He's done way more than that. I'm familiar with Ron Howard. I'm familiar with his body of work. But there were so many movies that he directed. Looking at that, I just kind of didn't realize he did all those movies.
Right.
In the Heart of the Sea is written by Charles Leavitt.
How do you spell that?
Leavitt.
Oh, that's not Leavitt.
It's not Leavitt. Leave it.
Leave it alone.
Who also he wrote Blood Diamond, and he's co-writing or co-wrote Warcraft.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which is a movie you're looking forward to, I know.
Very much so. Very nervous for it, though.
In the Heart of the Sea is shot by Anthony Dodd Mantle.
Mm-hmm. And he did Rush as well.
You're familiar with... I'm not familiar with this name.
No, I did my research.
Oh, you did your research?
Yes, I did my research.
Which is interesting that it's weird that I'm not familiar with this name because Anthony Dodd Mantle, he shot most of the Dogma 95 films.
Oh,
and Jay,
really?
Would you like to tell our listeners what Dogma 95 is?
Well, it's a dogma created by I forgot his name. Well, there's one Lars von Trier.
Lars von Trier is one.
Yeah, and Thomas Vinterberg.
I'm assuming it's Thomas.
Thomas Vinterberg.
Thomas Vinterberg, yes.
Vinterberg, yes. It was created by them, and they were adamant.
There are a couple of Danish filmmakers.
Danish, yes. Yes. Sorry, Danish filmmakers. And this whole Dogma 95 revolves around well, how do you describe it? Because without going into the rules of the Dogma 95.
Well, I was hoping you would get into the rules. No, it's just okay. Well, for those of you who don't know, Dogma 95, like Jay said, was this movement started by those two Danish directors, and it was a set of rules that they imposed on themselves when it came to filmmaking.
Right.
So I don't have all the rules off the top of my head, but the rules that they set for themselves were things like the movies that they made could only be shot on real locations. Mm-hmm. No score, no diegetic music, only handheld photography.
Non-diegetic music.
What did I say?
You said diegetic.
Yes, that's right. No non-diegetic music. There can be diegetic music, but just no composed musical score.
Isn't it no non-diegetic audio as well? Isn't it just?
That's right.
That's
right. The sound has whatever sound from the movie has to be recorded on set.
On set, yeah.
Natural lighting.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, handheld. The director cannot be credited, which is nonsense because they were all credited.
Yeah.
And it's just this really quirky set of rules that these two directors set for themselves.
Yeah, there were a lot of rules, and it was really like. Strict.
But they made for very interesting films like The Celebration, which was the first Dogma 95 film directed by Thomas Vinterberg. Mm-hmm. Is quite an outstanding movie.
What was what is the actual name of it?
Festen, yes, thank you. And that movie was shot by Anthony Dodd Mantle. So Anthony Dodd Mantle has shot a number of famed movies, and it's surprising that I'm not familiar with his name. He's also done a lot of Danny Boyle films.
Oh, okay. Like
Slumdog Millionaire, and I think he did Trance as well. So yeah, that's the cinematographer for this film, and we went into one whole long tangent about the cinematographer. The music for In the Heart of the Sea is by Roque Baños. No idea who he is, don't know his body of work, but his name is there.
Yeah, and I'll talk about his score later on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. In the Heart of the Sea runs for 2 hours and 2 minutes, and it stars Chris Hemsworth as Owen Chase, Benjamin Walker as George Pollard Jr., Cillian Murphy as Matthew Joy, Tom Holland as the young Thomas Nickerson, Brendan Gleeson as the old Thomas Nickerson, and Ben Whishaw as Herman Melville. And just in case you're wondering, all these characters are factual historical characters.
Yeah.
I didn't know that going into the movie.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, but when I heard the name Herman Melville, I was like, oh, Herman Melville is in this movie. I thought it would be like one of those. He's the only non-fictional character in a movie of fictional characters.
But they're all
factual. And the synopsis for In the Heart of the Sea: based on the 1920 event, a whaling ship is preyed upon by a sperm whale, stranding its crew at sea for 90 days, thousands of miles from home. If you know the story of Moby Dick,
that's pretty much it.
I
hate the word. I hate the way they say that the whaling ship was preyed upon by the whale. That annoys me.
Okay.
Talk about that,
we can leave that for the discussion point.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that you say. Okay, we'll get back to that.
Okay.
We'll get back to that.
Yeah.
All right, it's time to dive into the background of the production of In the Heart of the Sea. It was adapted from the 2000 non-fiction book of the same name, In the Heart of the Sea, subtitled The Tragedy of the Whale Ship Essex by Nathaniel Philbrick.
Philbrick. Wow.
Phil Brick.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's Philbrick.
Yeah, we're laughing at the guy's name.
Yeah.
Okay. And the book chronicled the demise of the ship Essex in 1920. And actually, the novel was intended to be adapted in 2000. It was supposed to be adapted when Miramax Films had the rights to the book. And Barry Levinson, who directed Good Morning Vietnam and Rain Man, he was attached to direct this film back in 2001. But then things didn't progress, and it happens with a lot of Hollywood movies where, you know, they go into this developmental hell stage where projects get shelved and no one touches it for decades, you know, and then all of a sudden it's picked up again. This is one of those projects that
Mad Max Fury Road as well.
Like Mad Max Fury Road, yeah, because that was in production since the 90s and didn't get made till 3 years ago.
And only got released this year.
And only got released this year.
Long journey.
Yeah. In the Heart of the Sea marks the sixth Ron Howard film that is based on a true story. Oh, that's kind of like a semi-biographical.
Based on true events.
Yeah, based on true events. The first was Apollo 13.
Right.
And there was A Beautiful Mind with Russell Crowe. And then there was Cinderella Man, again with Russell Crowe. Frost Nixon. And Rush. Yeah. So this is the sixth film out of his whole filmography that is based on true events. Casting for this movie began in 2012, a good 3 years ago. So this is after the movie got picked up again out of developmental hell and was bought over by a different studio. Chris Hemsworth was hired in 2012. 1 year later, Tom Holland, who is going to play the new Spider-Man in Captain America Civil War.
Very excited for that.
Yes. A year later, he was chosen to play the young Thomas Nickerson. And Thomas Nickerson... in case you don't know, we really haven't mentioned it. It's not in the synopsis. Thomas Nickerson was one of the sailors on board the Essex.
Yes, he was a young
boy at the time. And so what? Okay, all right. Just another tangent. Just to set the scene for In the Heart of the Sea, because the synopsis doesn't.
We love tangents.
Yeah, and the synopsis doesn't really explain this part. In the Heart of the Sea is essentially Herman Melville, the author of Moby Dick, approaching an old Thomas Nickerson to get his account of, you know, the whole event and the whole thing that happened with the sperm whale like some 30 years earlier. And then the story goes into flashback, and that's where we get the young Thomas Nickerson, who's played by Tom Holland, on the ship, and then we just relive the events. Yeah. So that's setting the scene, in case you're wondering who these characters are. Actors who were considered for George Pollard, who's played by Benjamin Walker. And in case you don't know who Benjamin Walker... Do you know who Benjamin Walker is?
He was in...
Yes?
Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Slayer.
Who looks exactly like a young Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Other actors who were considered for his role were Henry Cavill, Tom Hiddleston, and Benedict Cumberbatch. I can see all three playing. I can see all three of them in the role.
I don't think Henry Cavill...
Really?
I think Henry Cavill...
Is he too muscular?
Well,
is he too big?
Not only that, I think he would be too strong of a presence because... I kind of talk about this in the review discussion section.
In the discussion section?
Yeah. I just don't think that Henry Cavill would have been good.
Fair enough. What about Tom Hiddleston and Benedict Cumberbatch?
I think they would have been good. Either one of them.
I can picture Tom Hiddleston in the role quite comfortably.
Yeah, so can I. Although Benjamin Walker did.
Oh no, Benjamin Walker did a wonderful job. We're not discrediting him. We're just trying to picture these other actors in the role.
I just don't think Henry Cavill would fit.
Fair enough.
I'll explain more.
You'll get to that. Yeah. We keep jumping ahead. All right, a common fact during the production of the movie, the cast was on a strict diet of 600 calories a day.
Yes.
And this was all over the news. And Chris Hemsworth dropped from 215 pounds to 175 pounds, which is 97 kilograms to 79 kilograms. And then he uploaded this very famous Twitter photo of him posing, and he's like
skinny, saying
something like he doesn't look like Thor anymore. And he just it didn't look like him.
It didn't. It actually, he kind of looked like Matthew McConaughey.
A little bit, although you could tell from the cut of his body that he was still Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Because he's been topless so many times. Principal photography for In the Heart of the Sea began in September of 2013 in London and Hertfordshire. Hertfordshire. It's not Hertfordshire, it's Hertfordshire. Never heard of this county in the UK. But anyway, yes, in London and Hertfordshire, then moved to the Canary Islands, where a lovely thunderstorm struck, right, causing a freak flash flood, that halted production for a day and a half.
Nice.
Yeah, very nice. the movie was originally scheduled for release in March of 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So that was how many months ago?
Massively delayed.
And I find this quite amusing because, again, we're going to be talking about this, but I'm just going to say now that I don't think this movie is Oscar worthy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yes.
And I find it cute that they moved the release date from March to December in order to become an Oscar contender.
Right.
I just think that's a very cute move. They obviously think very highly of themselves, which is very interesting. I'm not saying this is a bad movie.
Yeah, but I agree. I don't think it's Oscar worthy.
Yeah, I mean,
no.
Don't move your release date to an Oscar season unless you are 100% convinced your movie is going to make it to the Oscars. It's just a sad move.
That's something that Mad Max should have done.
Yeah, Mad Max should have totally done that. If Mad Max was released now, it would be 100% in the running for Best Picture.
Yeah, because right now we want it to be.
Yeah, but we don't know because it might pull a Grand Budapest from last year. It might not. We'll see how it goes.
Mm-hmm. I really hope it does.
It's topping the best of lists for a number of publications. Yeah. So we're gonna see. We'll see how that goes. And then they moved the release date again. So they moved the release date from March to like mid December. And then, like every other smart studio out there, they moved the dates again to the 11th, I think. Well, earlier in the month.
So I'm assuming they did that to avoid Star Wars.
Yes. Yes, they did it to avoid competition with Star Wars: The Force Awakens, which every studio and every movie is doing. There are essentially no movies opening in the week before and during Star Wars.
Yeah.
No new movies at all.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, Star Wars is having 2 weeks all to itself to open. Yeah. It's crazy.
But it makes sense though, because if you release your movie with Star Wars, you're not gonna
get
money.
any business whatsoever. If someone is standing in front of a Cineplex, and literally one cinema is showing Star Wars and one showing In the Heart of the Sea, In the Heart of the Sea is gonna be empty for weeks.
Yes, for weeks.
Yeah, no one's gonna go in.
Yeah.
So they moved it to avoid competition. I don't know if it's helping, but that's what it is. And that does it for the background of the platform.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, very short
and sweet.
Very
nice.
short, very sweet.
Yeah.
Had its roots back in 2000 when the book was published, and they were gonna adapt it then.
Yep.
Didn't work out. Came back up in around 2012, 2013. And here we are.
Yes.
Okay, it's time for the review and the discussion of In the Heart of the Sea. Jay,
yes.
Go.
All right. I'll start off with what I thought was good about the film.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I thought that this film had good characters. I thought they had strong. I thought this film had strong characters. Mainly, and like every character had their reasons for acting the way they did.
What do you mean?
Like no, it's just like the decisions that they made in the film I felt were justified, and like they.
Well, you can give some example.
Okay.
I mean,
the whole the part when they went head first into the storm.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, Chase. He didn't want to do it because, well, for Chase. All
right, so we're gonna set this. We'll set this up again. We'll set the relationship between Owen Chase, played by Chris Hemsworth, and George Pollard, played by Benjamin Walker.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So Owen Chase is the first mate.
Yes.
He is like the second in command.
And
he's a seasoned sailor.
Yes.
He's been out whaling many times. He knows what he's doing. He's got the loyalty of the crew on his side.
Because he was actually supposed to be captain, but
he got screwed over.
Yeah, he got screwed over.
He was
a bit bitter.
Yeah, so he got dumped on the Essex as first mate,
under the captaincy of Pollard.
Yes, and he got paired with George Pollard, who is a total greenhorn. He's never been sailing before, but he's only there because his family name is very prestigious, and his family name put him on the ship.
Yeah, and he's they're about the same age. He's a young captain.
Yeah, he's very young, inexperienced, but he's put up this front because he was told before he left that he's got to bring honor to his family name, and so he's put up this front that he's the captain of the ship. He's in control, even though he lacks the experience.
Yeah.
And this brings a lot of tension to the surface between Owen Chase and George Pollard, because one's seasoned and one knows what to do and how to handle situations. The other is not experienced but thinks he knows how to handle situations, or wants the men to believe he knows how to handle situations. So it's this whole experience versus newbie kind of thing going on. So that just sets the relationship between Owen Chase and George Pollard, and they were in fact the real men were in fact butting heads a lot of the time in 1820 for similar reasons.
And Chase made decisions based on the crew's safety and
yes, that is true.
Based on general safety.
Yep.
And Pollard made decisions based on how he would appear to the crew.
So it's very much like Titanic then.
Yes.
How Mr. Ismay, played by what his name is, I can't remember his name. Jonathan Hyde, no, not Hyde Pierce. No. What's his name? I can't remember his name. But Mr. Ismay, the super mustache guy on Titanic, he was the one who wanted to make headlines and like, let's push the engines of the Titanic, and the captain was like, no, you gotta, we don't need, you gotta be conservative and gotta safety first. Yeah. So it's kind of that same thing going on here. Yeah.
And so like I said, every character has reasons for acting the way that they did. And I can't remember the guy's name, the cousin, Pollard's cousin.
Yeah, I can't remember his name either.
Yeah,
but George Pollard has a cousin on board the Essex as well, and he's one of these lowly deckhands.
And there's this one point where they're all stranded on boats in the middle of the ocean. Yep. And he pulls a gun on Chase.
Yes, the cousin pulls a gun on Chase. Yes.
And you can sympathize with him because
being stranded in the middle of the ocean is no laughing matter.
You would go crazy. So anyway, so they have their reasons, and I think that Chase and Pollard are both really strong characters. Because why are you giving me a weird look?
Oh no, I'm listening intently. Look.
Okay. Well, Chase, I like Chase's character. Okay. I think he's a really good character, strong character.
Yes.
And there are multiple levels to him. He. Like I said earlier, he puts the crew first, and he's always thinking about the crew, and he's a good first mate, and he would be a good captain, I think. And Pollard, he starts off as this, like we said earlier as well, he starts off as this, this brand new captain and all that, making bad decisions and stuff, and he grows on you. Well, he grew on me.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
So, I
think when desperate times call for desperate measures, I think he kind of abandons all his pretense and his front and just becomes the man that he is, which is he's struggling for survival. So I think as the movie progresses, his character does change drastically. Yeah,
and coming back to that, going to the storm decision, going head first into the storm, because Pollard said. There was this huge storm in the middle of the ocean, right? And Pollard made the decision to just go straight through it because he wanted to test the sailors. If we can't go through that, then God help us all, right? And then Chase knew that it would be a bad decision because
you're going into a storm.
Right, in the middle of the ocean, and it's just terrible. Sorry. And then at the end of that whole storm, when they almost died, Pollard blamed Chase
for the decision
and for everything that happened.
I accept your resignation.
Yeah. And I just think that their relationship from then on was really interesting. I just that whole power struggle between two of them. I just really like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
This might be a bit late to bring this up, but in case any of you listening do not know the story of Moby Dick, because I just realized.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. Just very briefly, it's all about a whaling ship that goes out to sea and is attacked by a giant sperm whale.
Yes.
And then they are stranded on the ocean for many, many days.
Mm-hmm. And the reason for going out is they hunt...
they hunt whales for the oil.
Yes.
It's back in the early 19th century where whale oil was the oil required to light lamps and power machines and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, carry on with your discussion.
Yes, I was like we said earlier, there was this guy Roch Banos. How do you say his name?
I'm assuming it's Banos.
Banos,
because I'm assuming he's Spanish.
Yeah, with that thing on top of the end.
Roch Banos.
Yeah, we've never heard of him.
I've never heard of him. No.
First time seeing his name.
Yes,
but I was actually thoroughly impressed with the score. I thought,
really?
Yeah.
I can't say I remember the score very much.
Well, now thinking about it, I can't actually
But
remember
while you were watching,
while
it,
I was
you were
watching it,
feeling the
I
music.
was like, whoa, okay, I like this music, and I felt it brought a lot to the film.
Did you really?
Yes.
I don't remember that part. Okay. fair
Yes.
enough.
Well, what did you like about the film?
Interesting, because I actually did not categorize my review into good and bad.
Okay.
So I'm gonna try and find Okay. All right. I'm not gonna talk about the good stuff. I'm just gonna
Okay.
talk.
Okay.
You still have your bad stuff to
Yes,
talk about. Okay. So I'm just gonna talk about my good stuff.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
In a way, In the Heart of the Sea is very much like The Walk. And now The Walk is a movie directed by what's his name? Robert Zemeckis, starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It's about this French guy who walked across the Twin Towers. And it's a bit like that in the sense that it does its job very dutifully. It tells its story, but and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. I'm following.
Are you following?
Yes.
Okay. See, I left In the Heart of the Sea not really feeling anything. Not really feeling any more educated about the whole event.
Yeah.
Not really feeling any excitement or exhilaration, because I mean the story is pretty exciting.
Yeah. Wait, I thought you were talking about your good things. The good things about the film.
No, I said I'm just talking about
Sorry,
everything.
Sorry.
No, yeah, because I didn't split it into good and bad. Are you,
okay.
are you not paying attention? Okay, yeah. So it kind of feels a bit like a fishing trip, where you just kind of go out and you sit on the boat and you wait for something to happen, and then it kind of doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm not saying that this is a bad movie. I'm just saying that given its material, given its source material, given its story, which is so ripe for excitement, this movie wasn't very spectacular in that excitement sense. Yes, we got a lot of scenes of the whale and the whale charging and the whale hitting ships and the whale tossing boats in the air.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was, and this might sound a bit, juvenile, but I don't think it was enough. I don't think we got enough of the whale, and I don't think we got enough of who. Well, I'm using the word "who" loosely because it's a whale, but I don't think we got enough of who the whale really is.
Oh yeah.
It felt a bit arbitrary to me, where the whale attacks the ship, follows the crew, attacks them more. That's probably what happened in real life. But I mean, if you're dramatizing real life events, you have to kind of make it more compelling.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, this movie feels just like a fishing trip, where you go and you sit on the boat in the middle of the ocean and you just wait for things to happen, and you're waiting for things can happen, but doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can hook a marlin and fight with it and catch it, but you don't.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels like that. It kind of feels like we're waiting for all these spectacular things to happen with the whale, but then it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Which leads me to wonder why they didn't just adapt Moby Dick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we talked about this.
Yeah, we thought Jay and I talked about this, because when we were leaving the cinema after the movie, I overheard a man talking to his friends, and he asked them, he said this to them, and he was like, why didn't they just adapt Moby Dick? Because you have pulling power there. You have the title Moby Dick.
Sort of, almost like a brand name.
Yeah, it's a brand name. Yeah. And if you plastered the name Moby Dick on a movie poster, people will go and see it because they know exactly what it's about. And that, I think, is a very prudent question. Yep. Why didn't they just adapt Moby Dick? I think no matter what, that would have just made for a more compelling movie.
Yeah.
It's an interesting decision for them to adapt the true story that inspired it rather than adapting the novel itself. Because I don't think we've had a good proper live action Moby Dick adaptation. I think there might have been one like in the 50s or something, but none now. No contemporary ones. None that we can really kind of bring to mind. That's my kind of overarching opinion about the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I also thought, again, it's hard to say this because it's based on fact, but I thought like the first third of the movie is very much like Mutiny on the Bounty with supermodels, because you've got Benjamin Walker and Chris Hemsworth, who are very, they're very charming, they're very suave, and they're very good looking, and they're perhaps too charming and too suave and too good looking to play, these rugged seamen,
Sailors,
these rugged sailors.
Mm-hmm.
They're like supermodels, and it was very much like Mutiny on the Bounty. You haven't seen Mutiny on the Bounty. It was very much like that, because Mutiny on the Bounty is the ship, and there's a mutiny on the ship where the crew and the first mate overthrow the captain.
Right.
And I was getting a lot of those vibes watching In the Heart of the Sea, because the crew and Owen Chase very close to overthrowing George Pollard.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't like him. They don't like his decisions. They smirk behind his back. So I was getting those vibes, and then the rest of the movie feels like, not the rest of the movie. The big middle chunk of the movie feels like Life of Pi with cannibalism. So,
right.
like, why Life of Pi? Because they're stranded out in the ocean, and then they do all these things to survive, including cannibalism, where they eat their dead comrades.
Well, yeah. All
what?
Right. No, nothing.
That's how it felt to me. But then, like I said, yeah, I'm saying a lot of negative things about the movie. But like I said, it's like The Walk, where it does what it's supposed to do. It does its job. It's telling the story, this story based on true events. It does it well. I mean, it's a well-made movie.
Yeah.
It's a well-made movie. Technically very sound, except for some things, and I will get to that.
Okay.
And then it goes. So it does its job, and it's gone. You kind of walk out of the theater feeling, oh, okay. But not like, holy crap, that was a good movie.
No, yeah. I felt that.
So, yeah. All right, now what are your bad points about this movie?
The first thing is the CGI.
Yep, I've got that down as well.
Yeah.
That was... But there's some shots where you're just like, no.
Yeah, no.
No. They are clearly on a boat in front of a green screen.
Yes. And also the whales.
Some shots
of the whales were really questionable.
But see, I have this here. I have this down as a point. Discuss CGI compared to Rush, because in Rush, I noticed some similar shots.
Did you?
Yes. Because I know in Rush, CGI was used quite extensively for the weather, because they wanted it to always be gloomy and rainy, and they used CGI for that. And there was also some CGI for the racing itself.
Yeah.
And there were a couple of shots when I watched Rush. I've only seen it once, and now I can't really remember details specifically. But when I saw Rush, I do recall looking at the CGI and questioning it at, sometimes like, this looks a bit fishy, and it doesn't look as convincing as it should be, and you can kind of tell that they're speeding down the racetrack and it's CGI, and they're not really in the car, or the car's not really on the track.
I actually didn't get that when I watched Rush.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it's interesting, because when I watched In the Heart of the Sea, it recalled some of the same emotions, and I was like, this shot looks a bit fishy, and they're obviously in
fishy,
they're not fish, in front of a green screen, and so I agree with you on the CGI thing.
Yeah.
I think some shots were just not up to par.
Yeah, and because whales, they're actual living creatures, right? So you have a very good frame of reference for CGI.
Yeah, but you don't have to create these creatures from scratch.
Yeah, but it just, a lot of the whales just looked. They were very, very obviously CGI,
Especially when they were in pods, like when they were when there were a lot of them on screen.
Yeah.
When the Essex pulled up to the pod.
Yeah.
And then they were breaching, and they were like swimming up to the surface. Yeah.
Yeah. When they swam up to the surface, the way the water interacted with them
it just
wasn't good.
It looked a lot better in The Good Dinosaur, didn't it? The water.
Oh yes, yes it did.
So I agree.
Yeah.
CGI not up to par. Not all the time. There were some, passable, pretty decent CGI moments. But on the whole,
could have been a lot better.
If you have a careful eye for CGI, you will notice some things.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And when we talked earlier, when you said the synopsis, and I was like, I didn't like the fact that it was phrased in the way it was, saying that the ship was preyed upon by the whale.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So and I know this is based on a true story. It's based on a story, yes.
Yes.
So they really couldn't change much. But I dislike the fact that the whales, well, mainly the main one, Moby Dick, right? I dislike the fact that they were portrayed as the bad guys in this story. Well,
now, okay, it's interesting that it's
interesting the humans were like the victims, you know.
Okay, yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that the whole bad guys and victim thing, because I have a question for you after this, which is gonna kind of shed some light on what you just said. But to kind of counter what you just said, looking at the movie and looking at if the movie is in fact factual, and I did some reading and a lot of it is, the whale did kind of prey on them. The whale did kind of attack them without... See, again, maybe this might be on the movie's fault because it doesn't explain why or doesn't attempt to explain why. The whale just seems to attack them for no reason. I would disagree with that. Then it follows them.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it follows them. So even if you argue that the whale is attacking the ship because, you know, it's angry with humans for poaching its fellow whales, then fine, that's fair. But then why does it track them down? Why it literally tracks them down? Like, after the ship is destroyed
to eliminate the threat.
Yeah, and they're like, and the crew is like stranded on their lifeboats and they're floating away into sea. The whale actually follows them and destroys one of the lifeboats, or the whaling boats, I think it's called. Why though? Is it still revenge? Is it still protection? Or is it just, and I shudder to use this word, is it still malicious, and just kind of doing it for sport? Or what is, I mean, like, there is...
I think it's revenge. I mean, not really revenge. I think it's like I said just now, eliminating the threat, because it just
wanted to do the job thoroughly.
Yeah, and they've this wasn't the first whaling ship to appear, right? So they would have known, the whales would have known that they're here to kill whales. So Moby Dick would he attacked the ship to get them to destroy them, and I think he just committed. He wanted to destroy them, and he wanted to get the job done. To eliminate the threat, to make sure
no matter how long it took.
Yeah, to make sure that they didn't kill any more of his kin.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's my reasoning.
I suppose.
Yeah,
we are very pro animals on
yes.
on the Critical Reel.
Yes,
we tend not to enjoy animals that are portrayed in very poor light. Especially
wolves. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know why movies love to use wolves as the bad guys. It's so sad because
it's so easy.
Yeah,
wolves
because it's so easy when they snarl.
Menacing.
When they snarl, they look menacing, and I think people just get scared of that and automatically, wolves are bad and they're evil and they must have red eyes and
kill people.
Yeah, I mean, Disney started it with all their animated movies. I mean, every animated movie that had bad animals, they were wolves, and it's so sad because wolves are such marvelous creatures.
Yes. But yes, we are off on another tangent.
Yeah. So we're very pro animals on this show, and I suppose you have a legitimate reason for being upset about the movie portraying this whale, this great white sperm whale, as a bad guy, a bad whale who wants to kill all humans. But again, I have a question that is gonna touch on that a little later on.
Okay.
What other bad points do you have? What other points do you have about In the Heart of the Sea?
At the end, when they reintegrated back into society. Yep. I've like that whole part from when they were rescued to their reintegration, I felt was really rushed. Hey. I felt it was rushed. I mean, well, now that I think about it, they couldn't have done much, but they were these skinny people, stranded on the sea for many months, and then
all of a sudden they're back to full
form, and they're all right. Hi.
Well, because they do mention it in narration that they were with the Mexicans or something, or the Colombians, whoever rescued them from the sea. Yeah. They were with them for like 6 or 9 months or something. So they had 6 or 9 months to regenerate and return
but I just
to society.
Felt that whole journey, journey from
enough.
Being rescued was just rushed. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, what do you think about the casting of Chris Hemsworth? I mean, because I know you're not the biggest Chris Hemsworth fan.
No.
I've made my views quite clear. I mean, he's He's fine when he plays like these improbable Norse superhero gods, where he's just impossibly good looking with his flowing blonde hair. But like I said, I think he's just too charming and he's too knowing to play a weathered seaman. Like you need someone with grit, someone who can really stand the test of the water. And I don't think Chris Hemsworth kind of carries that across. And you know what? A lot of the Chris Hemsworth fans are going to hate us for saying this, but you know what? Who cares?
Yeah.
It just felt like he didn't belong.
Yes, I agree.
The character is fine. I think the way he played the character is fine. I'm not criticizing his acting at all. He's great. But just the casting choice, I think, a bit of a misfit.
Who would you have cast
to play Owen Chase?
Because I think Henry Cavill would have been a good Owen Chase.
Yeah, I think maybe Sean Connery would have been. Yes. Good old Shawnee boy.
Yeah, he would have been perfect.
Yes, of course.
Oh, stop it.
Yes. No, I don't know. I didn't really think about it. Who would play Owen Chase? Who would make a better Owen Chase? Tough, because no actors are really springing to mind right now. Yeah, I can't think of anyone. If I do, I will mention it on Facebook and Twitter if I can be bothered. Okay.
So yeah, I honestly do think that Henry Cavill would have been better because he had...
So Henry Cavill not as George Pollard,
yes,
but as Owen Chase.
Yeah, because Pollard... Chase is this first mate and he's supposed to be, this big burly guy. And I think Henry Cavill has more grit than Chris Hemsworth, definitely. He can play the gritty type.
He can, yes.
And because Pollard...
I think he does an American accent better than Chris Hemsworth as well.
Yeah.
When Chris Hemsworth was talking throughout the whole movie, I just kept hearing Thor.
Yes.
I was like, no, it sounds wrong.
Yeah.
He should be speaking like Thor.
I'm not a fan of Chris Hemsworth's voice.
That name is so hard to say.
I'm not a fan of his voice.
Hemsworth's voice.
I'm not a fan of his voice. Yeah. But yeah, Henry Cavill would have been better Chase, and the reason why I don't think he would have been a good Pollard is because of his body structure.
His presence.
Yes, his
so
presence.
You think Owen Chase needs presence, but Pollard doesn't?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's
interesting.
That's
I actually agree with that. I think Pollard, Pollard does work better when he's this kind of, I wouldn't say insignificant, but this kind of, timid little mouse that kind of slithers through the shadows and comes out. And Owen Chase needs to be the man that everyone sees, and he's on the ship, and he's this beacon that the crew looks up to.
Yeah.
And then Pollard kind of lurks out from the darkness. So I think in that respect, you're right. Cavill would have had too much presence to be a Pollard, but just the right amount of presence to be a Chase.
Yeah. So yeah, I would like him as Chase, and
would you make him blonde?
Ooh, no, I would not. Oh, that'll be gross.
Hell no. I think Henry Cavill will not look good blonde.
No, he wouldn't.
Yeah.
He would have been a good Chase, and I think probably Benedict Cumberbatch as Pollard,
not Tom Hiddleston.
So I like Tom Hiddleston as
well. So
well.
we're saying that we're not happy with either of these casting choices.
No, yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's they're not bad.
And these are could have beens.
Could have beens. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
We're discussing
in
things
an ideal world.
Yeah, in an ideal world.
Because Tom Hiddleston, Benedict Cumberbatch. I'm just trying to picture both of them as Pollard, and I don't know. I'm leaning towards Cumberbatch.
Interesting, because I'm leaning towards Hiddleston. Okay.
Because I think Hiddleston's a bit too suave as well.
Maybe. Might have a point. I haven't seen Hiddleston play the really rugged character.
Yeah, well, Pollard's not that rugged.
Well, there you go. So then, perfect choice. Hiddleston can play Pollard.
Okay, fair enough. Either of them would be great. I'm not saying that Benjamin Walker's bad, because he was good. Yes.
Do you have a rating for In the Heart of the Sea?
Yes, I do.
Lay it on me.
It was really tough to decide between 3 and 3.5.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think I'm leaning towards 3.5. It's tough. I had a hard time deciding. I'm thinking 3.5.
I'm going with 3.
Okay.
mainly because of how I felt after the movie, or my lack of feeling after the movie. Like I said, technically sound, except for the CGI. Technically sound, well made, well crafted. It's it's Ron Howard doing Ron Howard. But yeah, just left it with no feeling.
Right.
Just no excitement, no new knowledge, no anything really. So yeah, I'm giving it 3.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, it's just above passable.
Yeah, I think a better Ron Howard film is still Rush. That is a solid film.
Yes, it is.
I really love that.
What is your best moment of In the Heart of the Sea?
My best moment is there's this one moment where there's this like sort of standoff between Chase and Moby Dick. When
yes,
they look each other in the eye.
He's about to harpoon.
Yeah.
Yep.
They look each other in the eye, and then he doesn't throw the harpoon.
And then Moby Dick backs off.
Yep.
Yeah.
I that was my best moment.
That's a good moment. I didn't even think of that. Good moment.
They're both like they were sort of the main characters. Well, not really.
Yes.
But
well, you can kind of see. Yeah. Owen Chase is the human hero, and Moby Dick. We're calling him Moby Dick. He's not really Moby Dick in the story, but he is Moby Dick.
Yes, he's the whale hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that standoff there was almost like a mutual respect there.
Yeah.
And then they
backed off,
parted ways, and that's my best moment.
Okay. My best moment is seeing the whale's fluke for the first time. And in case you don't know what a fluke is, it's his tail fin. I thought there's no character angle to it like yours does, and I like yours. But mine is for the sheer scale and for the sheer fact that it's a shot where you see this giant whale fluke rise up out of the water, and you can see the men in the foreground, their heads bobbing up and down in the water because they've kind of fallen into the sea.
Yep.
And it's a very famous shot. If you look at the poster, I think it's on the poster. If you go and look for movie stills, you'll find it. And I just like it because you see the scale of this whale, and even in history, even like in the annals of history, it was said that this whale was just huge. It was bigger than any other whale anyone had ever seen. And I like stuff like this. I like when scale is brought into the picture, and you get a scale of how big this whale is because its fluke literally towers above them. Yeah, and
it was bigger than the Essex. Just the fluke.
Yeah, it's an impressive shot. It's an impressive whale, even though it's CGI. And yeah, that's my favorite, my best moment.
Okay.
Worst moment, go.
My worst moment is because we are pro animals on this show.
Yes.
It was the first killing of the whale. That first whale that they kill.
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. It was an interesting action sequence. It was shot well and all that, but
it's killing a whale.
Yeah, it's killing a whale. No thanks. Especially with this whole whaling business going on in Japan right now, this whole controversy. I just felt like it was in bad taste.
Fair enough. Yeah, well, good point.
That was my worst moment.
Yeah, I don't have a worst moment.
Really?
I like copping out. I don't know why. But and no real moment just stood out as being a bad moment in the movie.
Because my worst moment's not really a bad moment either. It's just that I didn't like it.
Yeah, I mean, see, there's nothing to fault in the performances, even the writing. There's really nothing to fault. Yeah. So I can't. I mean, if I were to pick anything, it'll just be all the really bad CGI shots, I suppose.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough.
All right, so I have a question.
Yes.
Discussion question. And this was the one that kind of links back to your stance on the whale being bad and humans being good. What do you think this movie's stance on whaling is? Because there's a scene in this movie where the crew is on an island, stranded on an island, and Owen Chase and George Pollard have this conversation. And Owen Chase asks, what have we done to incur God's wrath like this? What have we done to make God so angry that he has unleashed this whale upon us?
Oh, I completely forgot about that moment.
George Pollard takes the opposite view and says, no, humans, if anyone God is supposed to be angry with, it's the whale. Because we are made in God's image, we can do with the earth as we please, and all whales need to die.
Yeah.
They had this conversation, so Owen Chase is pro-God and pro-animals, and he thinks that the humans are in the wrong, and George Pollard thinks the whale is in the wrong. So I thought it was interesting because you said the whale is the bad guy and the humans are seen as victims.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you think the movie stance is? Because the movie doesn't really settle on a stance. It doesn't really outright say that whaling is bad. It doesn't say that whaling is good. Of course, we're taking this out of context because in 1820, even though yes,
whaling was the norm.
Whaling was the norm because they needed oil for practical reasons. But what do you think the stance on whaling is?
I think the whaling. I think their stance on whaling is that it's bad because throughout because
Owen Chase is the hero and therefore we side with his view.
Yes.
Interesting.
Exactly that. Yeah. Because I completely forgot about that moment on the beach, and I love that moment because, that was the point when I realized that Chase I just
is
really
a good guy.
Yeah, and I like this character. I really like his character.
Okay.
But I think the stance is that they're not for it, because how can you make a film in this day and age and that's pro-whaling?
And like you said, especially with Japan being these ultimate dickheads and spitefully going out to massacre 333, I can't remember what whales, but they're whales anyway. Japan. I don't know. So this movie comes out in an interesting time because this whole whaling issue with Japan is just so preposterous. And I was just interested to see what stance this movie was going to have on whaling, and I agree with you. I think it does shift more towards anti-whaling because of Owen Chase and he's this righteous character. Righteous in a good way.
Yes.
Interesting. I just wanted to ask and see what your thoughts on that was.
All right. We move on to the recommended viewings.
Yes, we do.
Yes. All right. How many do you have? Do you have one or two?
I have one.
So do I.
Okay. I'm gonna guess yours.
Okay.
Did I mention it?
Yes.
Yes,
you mentioned it.
Yours is Life of Pi.
Yes.
Okay. Why did you choose Life of Pi?
It's Life of Pi is a very similar story to In the Heart of the Sea.
Yeah.
You know, there's this reporter. What was he? No, he was a writer.
He was a writer. A novelist. Yeah.
So it's the same thing.
And everyone said that, and not everyone said, but he is supposed to represent Yann Martel, kind of writing his novel Life of Pi. Yeah.
So the writer is getting a recount from the person who went through these events.
Yeah.
So it's the same story, and then they're both stranded on the occent, and they go
disaster strikes for both of them.
Yeah, but the reason why I chose Life of Pi as a recommended viewing is because I think they both have pretty much similar stories, but Life of Pi does it a lot better.
Life of Pi tugs at so many strings.
Yes, it does.
Its story is deeper.
Yep.
It's more well woven.
Yes, and interesting because there's just one character. Well, two.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
If you include the tiger, yes.
On
Richard
the boat,
Parker, yes.
right? And it's just a much. I really feel that
it
Life
is a
of Pi
sublime movie. Life of Pi is a sublime movie, and it just makes you think. Whereas this one doesn't really make you think about anything because it's fact. Okay.
So that as a recommended viewing is pretty much like a better version of In the Heart of the Sea, and
even though it doesn't have a sperm whale,
yes,
although it does have a whale that breaches.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that scene. That was pretty cool. Just a fun fact: the cinematography for Life of Pi was done by Claudio Miranda, who, also in relation to last week's episode, he was the gaffer for Seven, Fight Club, and Zodiac.
Really?
Yes.
Is it the same Claudio Miranda?
Yes.
So you went from gaffer to DOP.
Yeah.
That's quite an upgrade. Not to say that gaffers have a lowly job, but
yes. Because gaffers
are so important.
If you guys don't know, gaffers are the people who work with lighting.
Yeah,
and they work very closely with the director of
the
photography.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm sorry, I take that back. It's not a lowly job. It's not really a step up. But yeah, interesting. I didn't know
just
that.
a fun fact.
Yeah, it was a very fun fact.
Right. What is your recommended viewing?
Okay, I chose a movie.
Mm-hmm.
See, I was leaning towards Life of Pi, but see, I knew you chose Life of Pi, so I didn't want to choose it as well. What's the point? So I chose another Ron Howard movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you want to see a Ron Howard movie, what better movie to supplement your viewing than another Ron Howard movie? And instead of choosing a movie like Rush that tells another biographical movie in a nice way, in a strong way, convincingly, I went for the other end of the spectrum and I chose The Grinch.
Really?
I chose The Grinch as a recommended viewing for In the Heart of the Sea because it's directed by Ron Howard and it's just the complete opposite of In the Heart of the Sea. And I think it demonstrates what Ron Howard can do.
Right.
He can do a movie like In the Heart of the Sea, and he can do a movie like The Grinch. And a lot of people don't like The Grinch for whatever reason. I know Roger Ebert didn't like it because he thought in very much the same way as The Cat in the Hat, you don't get to see the actor performing because he's so hidden, buried inside this costume.
Oh, I disagree with that.
I disagree with that completely because the Grinch is so Jim Carrey.
Yep.
You can and The Cat in the Hat is so Mike Myers. So even though they're covered in layers of makeup and costumes, their performances still come through. Anyway, yeah, we love this movie, especially in our household. We love The Grinch. It's one of our Christmas movies. And I just think it's very interesting to see Ron Howard tackle two opposing subject matters and executing both well, you know? So yeah, I'm choosing The Grinch as my recommended viewing.
That is very interesting.
Yeah, so if you want to see what Ron Howard can do, watch In the Heart of the Sea and then watch The Grinch as a supplementary viewing.
But also watch Rush.
Also watch Rush.
Yeah.
Yes.
We loved Rush because we followed Formula One for a long time.
Yeah, we like the subject matter.
Yes, and
we like our sports.
Pretty huge petrol head, so I love cars as well.
Of course.
So,
but it's a good movie.
Rush.
It's a good movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to say about our wonderful episode on In the Heart of the Sea?
We have covered everything that's
We
possible.
have covered everything. I agree we have.
Yes.
Next week on The Critical Reel, it's going to be an interesting episode because it's our first episode in the foreign language. Not that we're going to be speaking in a foreign language. But the movie that we're covering is not a Hollywood movie. It's not an English movie. It's The Assassin, the highly acclaimed Chinese movie directed by Ho Xiaoxian, which is getting, it got
rave reviews.
Yeah, rave reviews when it premiered, I think, at Cannes. Sight and Sound magazine has ranked it as the best movie of 2015. And this is a movie that I really wanted to see, and I think it is important for us to do this movie also because we are not just all about the Hollywood blockbusters, even though that's what people like to hear and we like to watch. But we also enjoy watching movies from around the world. And there's so many movies from around the world, not just American movies. So we're going to be reviewing and dissecting The Assassin next week on The Critical Reel. So stay tuned for that. That does it for this episode of the Critical Reel.
Yep.
Hope you enjoyed it. In the Heart of the Sea is out in cinemas now. It opened on Thursday. Go see it if you're so inclined. Do not forget that you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/The Critical Reel and on Twitter at The Critical Reel. Go visit hookedonfilm.com.au. Go like their Facebook page. Go read my reviews. Go read all the reviews on that website.
Yes. All the reviews. Yes.
Don't forget to subscribe to our iTunes channel. Please download our episodes and rate and review them. We will love you forever. Jay, where can they find you on the social media?
You can find me on Twitter at DialogueSC. Just go ahead, follow me there. That's it.
Short and sweet, as usual.
Oh, yes.
Until next week, people of the universe. Until next week. Watch movies till the day you die and be good.
Goodbye.